Death, pain and agony have yet again hit the capital, Nairobi. President Uhuru Kenyatta made an impromptu visit to Ngei ward in Huruma to witness firsthand the magnitude of anguish and destruction resulting from last night's collapse of a 7-storied building that has so far claimed 8 lives and left many more injured. And as the search and rescue operations continue, national and county authorities are yet again on the spot, with gross negligence, professional misconduct and corruption blamed for the collapse of yet another building. Though the visibly agitated president did not address Huruma Estate residents, he could be seen animatedly engaging top national and county government officials coordinating the operation. The collapsed building was constructed on a riparian reserve, raising questions on who authorized its construction and whether or not the city's planning and inspectorate unit could have been compromised and persuaded to look the other way as yet another structurally unsound building went up in total disregard of the safety of tenants.
Tumejaribu kufuatilia tukasema hii ghorofa iko na alama na viongozi kama dio alikuja akaangalia akapiga picha hatujui alifanya nini.
By the point that we have reached, everybody can see what is going on. So tomorrow when you see demolitions, there will be no excuse. Then there must not be an excuse. But for now, I think this is a clear failure of systems.
Even though the president ordered the military, National Youth Service and other government agencies to provide all the necessary material and technical assistance to facilitate the search and rescue mission, the ultimate question remains: why were cartels in the construction industry, believed to collude with the city government's planning department, allowed to put the lives of thousands of city dwellers at risk?
If we find that a building you're living in is unsafe, right, we should be able to arrest the person who built that building because they broke the law, and we should be able to bring down that building. But what happens is when we do that, custodians of government on behalf of the citizens, we get vilified by other politicians.
If people is on road reserve, if somebody has built closer to the river, they must be demolished.
The Huruma tragedy could just be a tip of the iceberg. The National Construction Authority had, in a report published recently, declared 70% of the buildings in Nairobi unsafe for occupation. Yet when disaster strikes, like it did in Huruma, and lives are lost, seldom do we see the culprits facing action for the killings.
The problem that we have right now with the National Construction Authority Act is that there are gaps in terms of prosecution powers. There are very many sites, across the country where we have put an X before that building can, while works are going on, to stop, and you see that the developers of those buildings are still continuing to work because we don't have the prosecution powers to be able to arrest them. And that is something I've just shared with His Excellency, which would like to go to Parliament to have a revision to our Act so that we have the teeth to bite.
For now, the owner of the collapsed building, only known as Mr. Kamau, remains in hiding, and police are pursuing him after the country's top cop Joseph Boynet ordered his arrest. The collapsed structure with 128 rooms had no occupation certificate, a situation replicated in neighboring buildings.
When we say don't construct your houses next to the river, please don't do it, particularly the professionals. What you need to emphasize is that standards must be maintained at all costs. At all costs.
If the construction regulations were to be enforced strictly, incomplete buildings should not be occupied, and even the complete ones must only admit tenants once they have been inspected by relevant authorities and an occupation certificate issued. But the continued flouting of these regulations, fueled by corruption, will continue to result in fatal incidents like that witnessed in Huruma last night. Francis Gashuri's Citizen Weekend.